Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're looking at the wayforth Voyager. I was sent both of these watches for free. However, I don't get to keep either one of them. They both are going back. Either way, though, you're always going to get my honest opinion on this channel. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description that just takes you to the wayforth website, and there you can check out all the options. So the watches retail for $375 US. That's before any taxes or customs or anything like that. However, since I have had them in my possession, the price has permanently been cut by $50. So you can snag these for $325. And when you do visit their site, they pop up a 10% offer when you sign up for their newsletter. So you can get this for under $300 at the end of the day. The watch comes in 8 different colorways that you can see here. They have stainless steel and black cases and even two-tone options. And then you have the strap options as well. You get a couple leather strap options for the standard price. And then for an extra $79 US, that's retail, you can pick up the bracelet, but again, currently the bracelet is on sale for $63 US. So right around $350 US on the bracelet or so. So the watch case and bracelet are made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating, push-pull crowns, screw-down case back, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko VK64 Mecha Quartz movement. So wayforth, they reached out to me to see if I'd like to check this thing out, and once I saw them, I couldn't say no. I've actually seen these watches before they reached out to me, and I really always liked the look of them. So yeah, when they reached out and asked me if I wanted to check them out, I could not say no to these things. So yeah, really happy that they sent them to me for review. Really happy I can show them off for you guys. I say we get right into the full review, but before we do, I'm doing a quick wrist check today, wearing a watch that I just uploaded the review for, Watch Dives WD79090. Go check out the review for that right up here. But yeah, really enjoying this watch though. Okay, let's check out the dimensions. Got a diameter of 40.9 millimeters, case thickness of 13.3, got 20 millimeter lug width. We got a lug tip to lug tip of 47.9 millimeters. On the supplied leather strap, it weighs 82 grams. And on the bracelet, sized up for my 7.5 inch wrist with 2 links removed, it weighs 144 grams. So I think the size on this thing is actually pretty good. 41 millimeters, 48 lug to lug, standard 20 millimeter lug width. Thickness is also in check, and you can see they did a pretty good job of sculpting this case. It's got really nice turn down there, so it does hug the wrist very nicely. Yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the way this thing wears. I think the weight is just about right as well, even on this bracelet. So yeah, I really do enjoy the way this thing wears. I'm going to go outside her now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist. As you can see, we got the green on the bracelet right now. And I gotta say, the bracelet actually feels pretty comfortable. We'll talk about it here in more detail later, but yeah, it does fit really good, and I think it looks pretty good with the watch itself. So overall, pretty satisfied with this. It's very comfortable on the wrist. You can see there, nice turn down to those lugs as well, like I mentioned. So it just kind of hugs the wrist. It looks pretty good, even under this big tree here. The AR coating on the crystal does a pretty good job. Still a little bit more reflective than I'd like, just because of the single dome crystal, but it's really not that bad. Here we are with the yellow dial on the brown leather strap. I think it does look pretty good. I definitely prefer this colorway over the green. Yeah, the yellow that they use is just really, really nice. But again, fits very nice. The leather strap is also really good length as well. So overall, pretty happy with these watches. Here we are on the black leather strap. We'll talk about both of these straps in a little bit later. Nice straps though, and I think they do look pretty good with it. The racing style goes with the chronograph. So yeah, really happy with these straps. Actually, they're quite nice. As good as I think those leather straps look, the reality is it is hotter than a two-pecker goat here in Florida. So I've been wearing it mostly on this FKM cut-to-size strap. And yeah, I think it does look really good. The black kind of accents all the black accents on the dial. I think it looks really, really good. This one is definitely more of a strap monster than the green dial, in my opinion. This one just has a little bit better color palette to it. And lastly, here we are on a black nylon strap, 2 layers underneath the watch there. Still sitting very nice. This is a Cincy Strapco SF2. No issues with clearance between the spring bars and the case or anything like that, so go crazy on the straps on this thing. I think black is going to be the way to go. Brown does also look pretty good though. Alright, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. Alright, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. The case finishing is actually done very nicely. It's a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. Really the only difference between these two are the bezel inserts there. They're both tachymeter scales. I believe they are both aluminum, but it's really hard to tell. Either way, they're engraved. So yeah, they do both look really good, but it's just two different looks to it. So, and that varies depending on which dial color you get. So just something to keep in mind. We're going to stick to this one here though. The bezel itself, it's brushed and polished. So you have a polished bottom edge there and a brushed top edge there. I think it looks very nice, very low profile, slightly sloping there. The case itself, the case sides are a nice horizontal brushing, really nice satinized. I think it looks really good. You do have this nice high polished chamfer. It reminds me a lot of the Omega twisted lugs. You can see there, it's just one big chamfer that goes from one lug tip sweeping up all the way across the case here to the other lug tip there. And then in between the actual lug opening and that chamfer, you have this kind of angular brushed section which kind of slopes back down towards the back of the case. So it is very Omega-like in the finishing. It definitely looks different than the Omega, but yeah, actually pretty nicely done. Here you can see on this side, again, really nicely done. You do have a signed crown there. Nice size, nice grip. It's a quartz movement, so you're not going to be messing with that too much. Simple polished pushers there with just a little bit of styling done to them, but not too much. They're very, very simple, but nicely done. I think the case finishing on this watch is actually really, really good. Flipping it over to the case back here, you can see all the text on it. You got a simple spec sheet around the outside, and then wayforth Voyager limited edition there. But overall, very happy with this. Simple notches to get a tool in there because you are going to need to change the battery on this every 3 years or so. Really happy with the case finishing on this. You can see in between the lugs there, it is fully polished there. But again, it's just all really nicely done. Very happy with the case finishing on this watch. All right, so let's talk about the crystal on this. First things first, we will test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire. And it's a decent crystal. You guys know I don't like single dome crystals. You can see there, it is a single dome. That's what gives us that nice distortion there. But single dome crystals, they just give a lot of reflections as opposed to a double dome. So what I do like about single dome is that it lets the light play off the dial a little bit differently than a double dome crystal would. It's also magnifying, so it makes the dial appear a little bit bigger and the rehaut appear a little bit more shallow. So it does have its advantages, but I would take a flat sapphire or a double dome sapphire over a single dome every time. But they did put enough AR coating on this thing that it's not a complete disaster when it gets under certain lighting. So I'm happy to say it's a good enough crystal. I just wish they would have thrown something else on there. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial is really nicely done. I love this colorway here. This is kind of a Bahama yellow color, so it's a very an orangey or a warm tone yellow. I think it looks fantastic. It does. It looks really, really good. The green here, again, nicely done. Very happy with the dials on both of these watches. If you like the color scheme, I don't think you can choose a bad one, but the layout is the same between the two. You have applied indices at all the hour markers except 3 and 9 o'clock, and also 6 o'clock there. You have a day window cut out there. I will say I do have an alignment issue on the 12 index on this model here. This one here looks pretty much perfect. So it's just something to look out for, I guess, when you get these watches. They hopefully they check these watches before they send them out to reviewers, but obviously not. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a quality control issue there. But as far as the watch dial itself, really nicely done. It's kind of a double layer. You can see there cutouts for the subdials. Subdials are sunken in there just a little bit. Also a recessed minute track around the outside. It all does look really cool though. A little cutout there for the date window, color match date window, which is nice to see. The two subdials here. Really interesting layout with the numerals. I kind of like it though. It's a little bit funky, but I think it looks really good. Yellow hands on this one and a black chronograph second hand there sweeping around. Simple branding, wayforth, and then Voyager chronograph at the 6 o'clock position. The bezel on this thing, it's an inner rotating 12-hour bezel, so you can track 2 different time zones. So I have this set for 3 hours behind my local time zone, so it's a quick and easy check for me. It is 8:30. So yeah, really nice to have that if you are someone who can track or needs to track different time zones. Yeah, it's actually pretty handy. I wasn't sure how handy that would be, but for me, it's been nice. The bezel rotation is nice and smooth. There's no clicks or anything like that. So you just set it into position. It's a good resistance. It's not going to get knocked out of position or anything like that. So really happy overall with the dial on this thing. I think it looks pretty good. Hopefully you guys don't get any quality control issues. You can see the handset here. Nice size reaching right out to the minute hand. Nice big bold hour hand too. Overall, very happy with them. The subdials here, they are fully marked there, so easy to track and time things up to an hour. The lume on this watch, it is actually pretty good. I'm going to pop up a lume shot here. You can see it against a couple other chronographs in the collection which have good lume. And this one just holds its own. It's Swiss BGW9, so it's a nice ice blue glow, pretty evenly applied as well. Fades out evenly throughout the night. But I'm still able to read it in the middle of the night. So that's really all I can ask for from a chronograph. It's definitely not dive watch good, but it's definitely usable. All right, so let's talk about the movement and the crown in this thing. So the movement is the Seiko VK64 microquartz. If you guys don't know anything about it, it's a kind of mechanical quartz chronograph movement. This central second hand there, that is the chronograph second hand. It starts and stops with this top pusher here. So you push it there, and it stops it. Push it again, starts right up. It's 5 ticks per second, so it's a nice sweep, nice satisfying and crisp clicks on these buttons as well. To reset it, you press this bottom pusher, and the chronograph hand there and the minute tracker there, they all snap right back. They don't sweep around or anything like that, so it's an instant reset. Nicely aligned there. You can see it's maybe just a hair off, but yeah, pretty darn close in my opinion. Overall, very happy with these movements. They're plus or minus 30 seconds per month, I think, as they're stated. But in reality, they're much more accurate than that. This one doesn't have any running seconds hand, so you're not going to be able to really time it either way. But yeah, they're great movements. I've had no issues with them. I believe they're like a 3-year battery life as well. So yeah, overall, very happy with them. A push-pull crown here. So you just push it out to the first position. That changes your date. And then rotating, and then pulling out to the second position. It definitely would hack the movement, but obviously no running seconds hand on this one. So yeah, that's a very simple movement to use. No issues with it at all. Good feel on the crown, good feel on the pushers as well. So yeah, these movements are great. I've had them in plenty of watches, and they're always very accurate and very reliable for me. All right, so let's talk about the straps on these things. So like I mentioned earlier, you can get these for the normal price of right around $300 after all the discounts and stuff. You can get this on a brown leather strap or a black leather strap. They're actually nice straps. They smell good. They feel good. They're a good width. They have quick release spring bars as well. The stitching is nice and minimal and clean. But yeah, they're nice. They got a good size to them as well. I've had no problems with them at all. They have a signed buckle there. Fully brushed buckle. It's nothing fancy. I've seen this buckle on many other watches. It's not flopping around or anything like that. It gets the job done. Again, it's nothing fancy, but yeah, it is nice that it is signed. Here's the brown one, just to give you a quick look. Again, really nice, and they conform to the wrist nicely. They're the racing style straps, which go with the style of this thing. Overall, I'm very happy with the strap, the leather strap option on it. I think if you aren't a bracelet guy, the leather straps are going to work great. If you are a bracelet guy, here's a close look at the bracelet. It's 20 millimeters and it tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp there. It is a 5-link bracelet. I think it looks pretty darn good. Fully brushed. You can see there brushing on the sides as well. Screw pins for adjusting the size. Nice big chunky heads on those things, so nice and easy to size. You do have male end links, so that does stick out the total length to 52.2 millimeters. Other than that though, pretty nicely done. They're nice and fluid. I think the finishing is done nicely. The end link fitment in the case here, nice and solid. It does conform to the lug shape nicely as well. They also are supplied, they're also supplied with quick release spring bars. An interesting way of doing it. I've never really seen them done this way before, but yeah, interesting, and they work fine. They work great. Solid end links and solid links, by the way. But yeah, the bracelet itself is nice. This bottom edge is nice and rounded off. It's been very comfortable for me. Working our way to the clasp here, you do have a wayforth branding on the flip over there. Everything functions as you would expect it to. It's not a super fancy clasp. It's just a pressed outer shell with 3 micro adjusts, but fully milled on the inside. Nice tight tolerances in there though. So overall, very satisfied with that clasp. Again, it's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. It is fully milled, which is nice to see, and it's overall it's just very comfortable. That's the big thing. I guess the main negative is those male end links. They do stick out a little bit. It's gonna make it harder for a smaller wristed person to wear this watch, but they do turn down pretty sharply in my opinion. They follow the case curvature nicely. So yeah, the overall design of the bracelet I think flows nicely with the case, and they did a pretty good job on it. I got no major issues with the bracelet. It's been very good for me. So there you go, guys. That is the Wayforth Voyager. It's a great chronograph. I think this micro brand, $300, $350 chronograph, There's quite a few options out there, but I think they're doing something a little bit different with the dials, definitely different with that inner rotating bezel. You get plenty of options. You got nice strap options. You get bracelet options. They have a pretty good sale going on as well. Reliable movement, nice crystals, good case finishing, and yeah, I think a really cool brand overall. So if you guys are interested in these, again, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description. Go check them out. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.